You get lucky, right? Oh, yeah. Not the cigar. No.
Hi, baby. Nothing. Is you all right? The kids Angie's all right? The kids are all right? Hello. How are you? Thank you. All right. Yeah. Take care of everything for me? Oh, yes. So do it. Yeah. You got the function. That's what she gets.
Ladies, gentlemen.
All right, good evening. I've got about 7:01 and a half, 7:01. Your annual meeting was scheduled tonight for November 13th, 2017, 7 o'clock. My name is Chris Teller with United. And the person you want to beat up is not me, it's back there, Danielle, with our company. Tonight we have a guest here of Alex, who is the owner of Perfect Choice, and we're going to go introduce the board to you.
Frank Di Loretto.
Raul Coronado. Greg Hager.
Jim Wakey.
Michael Mendek.
Michael Leon.
Thank you. I don't know if it's good news or bad news, but by law we have to have 30% of your total number of residents, number of homes, either here in person or by proxy. We have a total of what, Danielle? 40 homes, and we needed a total of 73. Therefore, we do not have a quorum. That means that the board members here remain as is. This is an open meeting as far as going ahead right now, our organization meeting to decide if you guys want to keep the board members the same or change officers. Is there a motion?
I move that we open the table for nomination of officers of the board.
I nominate Greg for president.
Greg for president.
I second that.
Any other nominations for president? And if you're all going to keep officers the same, tell me that. Somebody
Okay.
want somebody,
Right.
even though there's a motion for Greg.
Then, if there's not, then I make an amendment to the motion that we just ratify the board members as they are
Keep the officers,
previously.
that's all.
Is there a second?
Second.
All show by hands approve. Thank you very much, and I'll turn the meeting over to the president. Thank you.
Okay, one of the things that we do have to do before we get started with the board, I'm going to open up the meeting to the homeowners as we normally do. The things that are on the agenda that are open for discussion at this portion of the board. Obviously, on the board was the ratification of board members, the annual budget, which we will be getting into, but if you have any comments, it was sent out in the packet. If you want to talk about that, now is the time to do that. Also, some things that will be discussed today. We will be presenting and voting on bids, proposals on asphalt repair for 2310 Tallahassee. There's been a new proposal or a bid to do the pool maintenance at our pool. We'll discuss that. The holiday Christmas lighting is also on the agenda, as well as the proposal from Perfect Choice to get us through phase 2 recovery. And it's a complete list of trees and stumps that will be removed. But before I open it to you, I'll just quickly explain when I say phase two. When we had the hurricane, we kind of came up with breaking it down into phases. Phase one of the response to the hurricane damage was just to open the roads, get the trees that were either threatening or that had caused damage, to get them to the point where they were no longer threatening and we had free access of movement within the in the community, as well as getting rid of a lot of that debris that was piling up that could attract a whole lot of stuff. So that was phase one. Phase two is what we're going to go into now and what we will vote on in terms of the proposal from Perfect Choice, which is now addressing the stumps, the lawns, and the tree pruning that was not threatening but needs to be addressed, needs to be cut, grass sod needs to be put down, and all that is included in the proposal, and we're going to discuss that. So that's phase two. Our phase three is just normal operations, our daily, monthly lawn care, which we do have a contract for that. It will include pest control and as well as fertilization. But we realize as a board that phase two and phase three are going to go on simultaneously. Phase two is going to take some time. Okay, it's going to take some time, it's going to take some money, and so when we do discuss the budget, you're going to hear from some members of the board some good work that they did on coming up with a plan on how to pay for that by not making an assessment to the community, which we don't think we will. If we have another plan or another catastrophic event, then all bets are off. But right now, there's no plan for an assessment, and so we've tightened our belt across the board on some things, taking some money from reserves. You're going to hear all that. But phase two is going to go on for some time. We're trading time for money right now. So 2 and 3 are going to go on. So those are the topics that are on the agenda that I will now open up to the board, open up to the community. That if you have any comments, questions in those specific areas, now is the time to bring that up. We invite it because this is your input before we vote on those bids that we just discussed. If you have items outside those 4 topics, we do ask that you wait until the end and we'll discuss that and you'll have more time to do that. So now we will open up the floor if you have any comments or discussion on those items that I just brought up.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I have a couple of them. On phase 2, you said you were gonna remove the stumps.
That's correct.
And do you know if, like, some chance can we convince the city or something like that to replant trees?
We're gonna have to do it, but again, like I said, the city is not gonna let us get away with just cutting down trees. At some point, we're gonna have to put that stuff back. And that's why I say it's gonna be a long process so we don't take this big hit in money. And so we're gonna put it in over time. And that's why I say we're gonna finish with the proposed items on that list, but there's still gonna be more to do. And so now we have a landscape committee that I have asked them to come up with a prioritized list of things that we plant and where they go so we get our community. That's in another committee right now.
Okay.
Now, when we do say we have to replace a tree, just because a tree was taken down somewhere doesn't necessarily a tree will go back in that same immediate place. But a good percentage it will, but there are other considerations that we have to do because now we're having irrigation we're having drainage problems. And so we've got to take a very close look at where we put these trees. And one, we don't want to put them on people's property because we don't want you to have to be responsible for them. So it's got to be on HOA property, and then we have to be very smart about where we put them. Does that answer your question?
Another one.
Go ahead, sir.
Sorry. No problem. About the insurance. I mean, does the insurance cover for some of it?
Bro, that's a very good question. I will take a stab at it and then I'll turn it over to you. But we did put in a claim. We did put in a claim for a very small, like a couple $1,000s worth, that claim is still going through the process. But it doesn't pay for the entire damage, no. It's only a very small amount.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, sir?
Nothing.
Did anything to add to that, Chris?
Yeah, depending on who your carrier is, in this particular case, Tower Hill, they go ahead and they'll pay up to $2,500 for cleanup of debris. There's not a policy or company out there that supports insurance for any type of landscape at all.
And that claim has been submitted and it's just going through the process. Yes, sir.
I've noticed several trees are wrapped with some
Yes, sir.
plastic thing. What does that mean?
One wrap means it's gotta be pruned back, so that, and then 2 wraps means it's gotta come out. Just because it is not wrapped and there is damage, it may be a case where we just ran out of tape. But to answer your specific question, 1 wrap, it needs to be pruned. 2 wrap, it means it needs to be taken out completely. Anything to add to that, Alex?
No, you are correct.
Okay. Any other questions?
Again, sorry.
Go ahead.
And I'm only asking this, it's not bothered me, but a lot of those electric wires, and I don't know if they're all low voltage or what, are still above ground. And I see the high school kids come walking through there every day.
Sir,
I hate somebody to trip over or something and get sued.
could I ask you to put in a work order? Just so, I mean, you don't have to if you don't want to.
No, I can.
If you could just put in a work order on it,
Yeah, it's
so we know
middle
the
of
specific
HOA
place.
Of your property.
I understand that,
Okay.
but if you could, we
Yeah.
would appreciate it. Because there's a lot of stuff coming in, and just to keep up with it, that would help us a whole lot, and it would help us track it a lot better.
Okay.
Anything else, sir? Yes, ma'am.
Just there are 2 trees, bushes, whatever, right on the corner of Country Isle Road.
Yes, they're falling down. They're on the list to be removed, yes.
See, they really didn't have to be
Yeah,
removed. They
we
had to
went,
be-
yes, we went through this with an arborist, and because we could put them up, but there was no guarantee that that tree would survive because the root
Is that
structure.
our responsibility?
Yes, it
or
is. Yes, it is.
It's not Weston's
No, no, ma'am,
responsibility?
it's not. Sorry.
It's on their property.
What
We-
about trees that people planted on their common ground themselves?
Mhm.
Are they responsible for taking care of the tree that falls down?
Unless we can prove that they planted it there, and I don't think that we have that good of a record, then we're gonna be responsible for it.
Okay,
That is
asking.
just my opinion. Okay?
You know, I don't understand why the association should have to pay for trees that other people planted.
We shouldn't, but unless we have definitive proof that we didn't plant it there, I mean, how do we, I mean, it could be 2
And
homeowners
I'm
ago.
not tattling.
I'm just saying, I mean, did I answer your question, Ron? Did I answer your question? Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions on the agenda? Okay. I'd like to go ahead and go on then. And what I'd like to do now is move towards approving the 2018 annual budget. And I have would like to move to approve the budget as included in the management report for the November meeting.
Motion.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to present an amendment to the 2018 budget. The idea for this amendment is to be able to pay for the recovery of our community from Hurricane Irma without affecting the homeowners with a special assessment. James Buwagi, the treasurer, and I got together to review the budget, and we reached an agreement to present an action plan to the Board of Directors. I request the Board of Directors to support this amendment to prevent any economical impact on the homeowners. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so as I understand it, Raul, the board sat down, created a budget, Then after the hurricane, what you're now proposing is an amendment to that budget?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so I accept the amendment to my motion. Is there a second to that amended motion?
Second.
There is a second. Now open the table to any discussion of that. So if you could, if we could get a little bit more to the numbers so the board understands. What this is the board came up with a budget at United Community during a meeting. We all approved it, and that was the budget that was sent out with the annual meeting announcement. Since then, we've obviously had a hurricane, and now this amendment now reflects the changes in line items to try and pay for the recovery phase 2 to get us back to where we need to be. So if you could explain some of the numbers.
I will, Greg. Let me just start out by, again, thanking everybody and Rule and Greg and the whole board, just to say that I support everything that Rule has said. We were, at first, went in with that meeting thinking that we were gonna have to look at a special assessment. So what we did was, we looked at the fact that year-to-date, we've already, not including the expenses to the hurricane, have already saved about $36,000 compared to budget. Okay, so that's money we banked already. So that's money that we can then apply to whatever we need. So we expect by the end of the year, that total will be around $42,000 of savings to pay for the expenses. The total amount, if you include what we've already spent, which is around $77,000 plus $65,000, which is the amount that we have yet to spend, we're expecting that it's going to be around $145,000 in total expense for hurricane cleanup. So already we're a little bit ahead of the curve by the fact that we're saving $44,000 towards that expense. The other thing is, next year we're also expected to put away reserves of around $45,000. I'm sorry, $26,000. And that's just our normal regular reserves that we normally put away. So the third thing we said was, okay, what can we do to tighten our budget in 2018? Is there anything we could do that would make sense and still not have anything that severely impacts what we're doing as a community and when we want to move forward? And there are several items that we identified. One was, we felt we could reduce the tree trimming by around $20,000, largely because that's basically what Alex is going to be doing, a lot of tree trimming. So a lot of that expense we're going to be able to do as a result of the hurricane cleanup, and we're still saving some money aside, around $14,000 to help for tree trimming. The second thing we felt was important for us to do a little, reflection in terms of the money we were set aside for landscaping projects. And so we decided that we're going to forego any landscaping projects in the budget by around $20,000. And we also, the third thing we did was we decided that we're going to try to do this. If it becomes an issue, we will change it. But we're going to try to reduce the number of cuts in the first quarter to about 1 cut per month, because that's a slow period of time. That's when the grass grows very little rain, we're hoping, will happen. But again, if that becomes an issue, we would go ahead and make a decision, I'm sure, to keep the property looking nice. I think overall, we just felt it was something that if we could hold on to this and not have to force any type of, special assessment, we just thought if we could do that using our own better judgment and possibly trimming a little bit here and there, we were able to do so. So as of the end of the year, we're expecting $185,000 in reserves. Okay, that's the expected amount, not including the amount of loss. So I just want to make sure we set aside money for reserves. So in 2018, though, with all the things we talked about, including paying for the repairs, we're expecting to be at $155,000 by the end of 2018. We feel that's an acceptable level of reserves at this point, and I think that's what we would like the board to have any comments or conversations as well.
I would like Raul to just go over some specific, just for the community, some specific lines that were reduced, so you can get a feel for how they did this. And then, so if you would, Raul, please.
Yeah, basically, on the original report, landscaping projects had $40,000, so we moved $20,000 away, so they remain 20 for the landscaping to do any project that required for 2018. On trimming, the original number was $34,500. We took $20,000 and remained $14,000. Remember, everything has been done by Irma. All the trees were trimmed by National, okay? So basically, it's gonna come and do the rest that is needed, and then that's gonna be very good for 1 year. And then Jim explained to you about the cut that we're gonna reduce on the month of January, February, and March. So right there, we are saving $15,000. But again, if that becomes an issue, then we're gonna correct as soon as we walk through the process.
Okay, so the loan service is reduced by what, 15,000?
$15,000 about.
So then the deficit would be 5,000. There's a deficit at the bottom that says 60,000. So if we do those, make those changes, then the deficit would be 5,000.
Which paper are you referring to on that?
The
The
original.
budget, the original budget or the prior budget?
Right here, the original budget, right here.
Yeah, that's really not part of the budget at all, that's just a line item that we have there. I'm not sure what that exactly means, just estimated income expense. Net of 16.
Oh, that's for 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really not part of the
Yeah, that's
budget.
for
You know, it's
2017.
sort of like a subline that we have, and maybe Chris can explain it, but I don't ever really use that information. I use it, what's tallied up on the budget of income expenses.
Yeah, it was, got me confused because it's aligned with the 2018 instead of 2017. Okay.
Yeah, I think that maybe just, it says estimated income expense, maybe there, but I'm not, that doesn't jive for me. I don't understand.
Are there any other questions from the board, any other discussion? Judy? Anything?
No. Frank, no. Raul?
No. Michael?
No.
Michael?
No.
I do need to say as a disclaimer, this budget going in, there was a couple things that we bannered around in terms of use of the reserve, et cetera. Some of the things in the reserve, although that money is very liquid to us, and what Raul said and what Jim said is if we had, even though we're reducing the amount of cuts, we can go into the reserves to pull money out. But if you look at the budget and the reserves, that money is put against line items for future maintenance. So to empty out the reserves to pay for the, a fell swoop, getting everything back, we would mortgage our roads, our lawn grate maintenance, and other things that we would have trouble catching up to, if that makes sense. So that was an option that was discussed, but we chose to leave that against those line items. Now, in my former business, no plan survives the first shot. So again, this budget is a plan. As we go into the year, things may happen. We still have the flexibility to move money around. But if there was no more discussion on the board, I'd like to go ahead and all those in favor of the amended budget, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. All ayes have it. The approved budget, approved amended budget is approved. And Chris, if we could send that back out to the, is that possible to send that back out to the community?
It is, and you can sign that one in front of you, we're good to go.
Okay, all right, so we'll do that. Okay, we'll move on. The next item on the agenda is to approve the 9 October minutes. If anybody needs to, I have 3 copies here. If you need to quickly look at them, they were in the board packet. But I move to approve the 9 October minutes. Is there a second?
I second.
Raul seconds. Is there any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor of approval say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All approved. Then the minutes are approved for the 9 October meeting, and we can post them on the UCM site. The next item is the ARC committee meeting, meeting minutes. And I think if you don't have a copy, we've got a copy for you to take a look at. Pass these down. Just pass. Okay, sure. Yeah, take a look at those. All right, so I move to approve and for submission the ARC committee meeting minutes. Is there a second?
I second.
Roll second. I'll call for discussion, but obviously you can take a chance to take a look at it. Is there any discussion for those that have already read it? You can just indicate.
Maybe one question about the privacy fence that was
Yes,
approved.
yes.
Is that fine if you go move forward on that? That was damaged by the hurricane, I understand.
I don't know if that was damaged by the hurricane or was from before, but that is something that is part of our documents, so we approve that because it's according to the bylaws and with the colors that the association chooses. So.
I hadn't seen that in a while, so I just asked the question whether we knew about, whether that was
Is that just the small fence?
That's the small
That's
fence.
just the small
That's the
going
privacy
off.
fence. That's the privacy fence.
Right, it's just the one going off
The
the
little
back
10
of
feet.
the.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Any other discussion? Michael? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes. Okay, there are no grievance committee meetings, as I understand. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Financial statement, if you need to go over anything else.
I think I said a lot about financial statements, so I don't know if I want to go into any further detail other than, just saying what I said before.
Over to the property manager, anything?
We do have a couple issues, but I'm not prepared to discuss them now. It'll be our next meeting. Those are drainage. We have
Okay.
2 locations, both in patio 2, and it is serious money.
Yeah, and I would like to just bring up, as you talk to neighbors, and it was brought up about planting trees in HOA property. One of the unintended consequences of putting landscaping in and putting patios in and pavers in, that has an impact on drainage. So we just have to be very careful about where we plant things and what we do, because like Chris said, this is a major dollar item task. And so we're gonna have to deal with that. Anything else?
No, sir, that's about it.
Okay. All right, Sherry's not here. Do you have anything from the ARC that you wanna bring up? Anything that you saw or anything?
No, really, nothing.
Okay.
Nothing specific, no.
Okay. All right, at this point, we'll now go into the bids and proposals. I don't know if everybody saw them, they were in the packet, but the first one is for asphalt on 2310 Tallahassee. It was due to damage to a driveway, and the total was $695. So I will move to open the discussion for the approval of the asphalt repair for 2310 Tallahassee. Okay, Jim seconds, any discussion?
What caused the damage?
We're not sure on the damage. Alex, this is property that we went over, and it's on Tallahassee. I'm sorry, I'm gonna turn the temperature down. But what was involved there is exactly where the debris pile was. But this resident also had a water leak some time ago where the city came out and repaired it, and the asphalt broke up in probably 8-foot long area by about 2 feet wide. Alex says his crews did not do it. I have no reason to doubt what he's saying to me. I have no accountability for why it happened.
You believe it was a water leak or something?
It was, she told me, the resident told me, that's one of the areas that got repaired when a main line broke in the city came out. So could it have been weakened? You can see cracks all over the place out there where it is giving way. But did I see somebody do it? Did she see somebody do it? No.
I just asked a question.
Yeah.
I have a question. We've had problems like in phase 2, and same thing, a pipe underneath the asphalt broke. The city repaired that and their driveway, so how come they're not responsible?
Because
What this was is they did the repair, but the damage was done by a tractor, I believe.
we think it was heavy equipment or just weak. If you go by it right now, you can see, if you go out toward the middle of the road, you can see where it's starting to give way in several areas. Not tomorrow morning, but it's just gonna keep happening. And the area that gave way and just flipped up was on the very edge of where it meets the road, meets the lawn. So it's the weakest part of the area.
Any other discussion?
You wanna ask Alex one more time if he did it? Hold him upside down.
Does anybody need to see the proposal? It was also in the
Sure.
the packet. Any other discussion?
Positive.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye. All opposed? Say aye. Okay, all approved, so that is approved, and I will sign that for you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, the next one, I'm gonna skip that one real quick. Christmas holiday design, the holiday lighting. This is to, one of the things where we did tighten our belts was on the holiday lighting. Our previous vendor that did this is no longer in the business. We budgeted close to $8,000. It was it was a hard decision to do. We thought we should have the holiday lighting, but it was an area that we could tighten our belt a little bit. So we went out in going out to find a new vendor, as well as trying to get a reduced amount of lighting. That's what this is, and this proposal, I think, is for a total of like just under $4,000, which is almost, you cut it by 50%. But what it will do is, what you will see is where the section sign is, the tri-palms that are there, those will be lit, and the first two large palms on entering each of the sections will also be lit with the fronds lit. So that's what you will see. So that's just a short explanation. The board has discussed it, but I will move to ratify the proposal for the Christmas designers holiday light. Is there a second? I second. Okay. Is there any discussion?
50-50 shot that is done before Thanksgiving.
Yes. Yeah.
50-50 shot. If you're a betting man or woman, put your money on the first week of December.
I don't know if any of you saw the email that went out today, that he was gonna be in Weston starting next week to start putting up lights. Where we fall in the Weston, I don't know, but he's gonna start doing it then, okay? Is there any discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Any opposed? No opposed, all 7? Yes, okay? Okay, the perfect choice, the phase 2 recovery completion cost. This is the list of all the, includes all the single wrap, double wrap, and some trees that were not wrapped but are obviously damaged, but we ran out of tape, which include those trees at the entrance to phase 2. There's a total of $63,223. This was part of the consideration when Jim and Raul went and met at UCM with the budget folks to try and come up with a plan. So this is the proposal. I move that we move to approve that's the payment of this proposal, so that we can go into phase 2 to start cleaning up, get the community back to pre-hurricane conditions. Is there a second?
I second.
Before you sign that, could we have a time frame? part of that contract agreed upon? Like you're gonna start in 48 hours?
I wish.
Reach the 24.
Yeah, the start date, it will be probably the first week of December, but it's gonna take some time to,
It's not gonna work.
no?
No, no, we already had, that we'd be, seriously, I wasn't joking.
Okay.
When I said 48 hours, 2, 3
Oh.
days. We
Good.
need to
Turn around?
start. Yes.
Right away?
I do.
Okay.
I got a lot of problems out there.
Alex, the thing we're trying to do, because again, everyone's getting ready to have family and friends over for the holiday season. So we really want to do our best to make the properties presentable, especially in the outside as people drive through and such. That's really what we, like I said, the phase 2A, we would call it, and that would mean that we just want to, if there's things like, grass is dead or things, we just want everything to kind of get back to normal before the holidays, as much as possible before Thanksgiving, but of course, we know that can't always be done.
Yeah.
But we
Yeah,
understand that there's
I
a
can't,
timetable.
I can't come here and lie to you guys and tell you I'm gonna finish it before Thanksgiving because, I'm not gonna be able to finish it before Thanksgiving, but definitely I will, look into my calendar and bump some people around so that way we can, start this as soon as
Yeah, well,
possible.
we have some lights, that have that to use.
Yeah, yeah, I know, I can use them, now that you offer, so, yeah, no.
On a
Eh,
serious note,
No, we definitely, we'll look at the schedule and look at it really hard to, move this forward.
how
Okay?
about we make this deal that we will start no later than a week from today?
I think that's reasonable.
No,
You
let's
know,
make a deal.
I can definitely start within a week, but it's, we won't be able to finish
Well,
it by
let's-
Thanksgiving, that I
let's
can
make sure
promise.
We're
we're not
anticipating to be
doing
finished
work.
by Christmas.
Definitely by Christmas, we should have most of it wrapped up.
Did we want to kind of cut it off before Thanksgiving? I don't want to, have a lot of lawn equipment during the Thanksgiving holiday. What do you guys think?
He won't be there Thursday and Friday. So, I
Yeah.
mean, we have,
All right.
get a 3-day jump on it
I
unless
think
you all
by-
think differently.
Yeah, we can definitely start on the areas that are more noticeable, and I think by now, we all know which ones those are, and there is some areas that really need attention like yesterday, so I agree with that.
My concern is liability existing.
Right, and that's why, I will move stuff around in order to get this going.
I'd like to get a small crew out there, at least to what we all talked about, was everybody's front yard for the holidays. So before Thanksgiving, that if there's 8 pieces of grass and there's one little tree that needs to be trimmed, so everybody's front lawn looks proper and something they could be proud of when their family and guests go over. Everybody, that's what we need first.
And the front entranceway and patio too. That has to.
That's gonna be my first goal, yes, sir.
So can we commit on a contract starting a week from today?
Absolutely.
You wanna write that on a contract? Thank you. You can start this week too if you want.
You're serious again? Okay.
I will definitely.
Any other discussion? Okay.
Yeah, Greg.
Yes, sir.
There's I showed you, there's a palm tree
Yes,
in
sir.
front of my house.
Okay.
That I think, Chris, you agree, you can't salvage.
No,
It's not marked. So I'm wondering if it was missed.
no, wasn't missed.
A
The reason,
palm?
yeah, we know palm. What it is we went and marked out trees that were liability first.
Okay.
That's what we went after. We came up with the total that you all have there, which I think is 63,000.
Right.
And that's, God bless you. And that is all with liability issues, is what all of that is out
Fine.
there.
No problem.
Can we add that tree?
What we can do is remove that tree, because it'd take 2 minutes to
Right.
tear it down.
Right.
The palm tree, it's not a piece of skinny rail.
Yeah, it's,
So,
ping pong.
It's
yeah.
right in the middle, in the front, there's 3 palms.
Yeah.
It's the
The
middle
one in the middle.
palm. I thought it was still growing, but Chris says it's not.
Could we at least hatch it at the,
You may
base?
want to take a look at it.
Yeah, he did, he looked at it, he agrees.
You can't be safe?
No. You know it, you remember the tree?
Not for that, that type of palm. Treatment will be more expensive than new palm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it'll go, but we won't be replacing it
All
right
right.
now.
Just try to save a tree.
Okay. Anything else, Mike? Any other?
No.
Anybody? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
say aye. All opposed? Okay. You'll approve it. I'm sorry, what?
Are we posting that list on the website? No.
For who's not for,
Not for public.
not for public. It will be on there.
You can stay too if you want to.
All right. Okay, the last one I talked, we did receive a proposal for work for the pool, okay? It looks, going through this, is a difference of the new proposal is $320 a month. Old proposal is $350 per month. The statement of work is fairly identical. I will highlight the differences. The current contract says clean the filters a minimum of once per month or as necessary. The proposed bid is clean the filter 2 times per month as necessary. The chemicals, pH is identical. The the current contract is stabilizers added when necessary at a charge of $3.25 per hour. The new proposal is stabilizer 3 times per year at a cost of $45 per time. Neither includes equipment or repairs, so those are the 2 differences. One is $320, one is $350, but essentially very identical.
Do we have any major issues with the pool? I mean, is it something that we have a concern about, or?
Let me get to the motion first. Okay, so I would like to put a motion on the table that we consider whether or not we would like to consider the new proposal at $320 a month to replace the current. Is there a second? I second the motion. Raul seconds. Now we'll go to any discussion.
My question is, was there any issues that we couldn't resolve with our current vendor? Problems with the current vendor as a result of, something that he's done, or?
I will tell you that I, in my heart of hearts, believe we're getting overcharged for filter changes.
This is the guy that was charging us
Right, and
Big difference.
Chris, do you want to give any input on this guy?
Yeah, I thought he was a little bit high. I thought we were getting nickel dimed. He does other pulls for me, and I've had 10-page emails to him about that. So he's been warned about that. My only concern is who found pool guy? Was that our company or one of y'all?
No, this is.
Okay, I just want to make sure they're insured.
One of the homeowners.
Are they insured?
Yes, it's a.
Are you talking about village pools?
Yes, village pools.
They've been with us for, God, many years.
Yes.
Maybe it's about time we change.
So it's not a monthly issue, it's more of a changing of the filter issue, because I didn't see any difference here. There's difference in price here.
The only thing you have here different is, if you guys stayed with Village Pool, I've got more barking that I could do because they have other communities they do, but at the same time, they were told, listen, this price is high. And they failed to come and say, okay, let me drop it a little bit, let me help you out, you've been a long time customer of ours, let me take $200 off, let me do something. And they never came back to help us at all. I think didn't I copy
Yes,
an email
this
to
is
them?
all on email. Any other discussion? Please provide, please, if you got something you want to say, please say it. All right. Michael? Mike? Judy?
Next question, I got a question.
Okay. Filters, I think that filters are so high. And in fact, the person that do the filters, is gonna save the time versus cleaning the whole filter. It's not his favor.
Well, the filter should be changed once a year, no matter what, they
Yes,
need to be
yes.
changed.
not $200 per filter. You can get it for $90,
Yeah, 90.
less than $100.
The filters to put in there, because I contacted a company, and I'm not trying to debate you guys, I just want to let you know what I did. I contacted a company that doesn't do any of your pools down here at all. And I gave them, matter of fact, I sent them pictures of your current filter system. And it's not just like if you're at our homes, you just pick the top off the filter and lay the cartridge back on. There are pipes that have to come apart and pipes that have to be put back on. So it's not a 2-minute ordeal, but I still felt the price that we got was still a wee bit high for what it should be. Now, I can go back one last time and say, hey, you need to take $250 off or you're gonna lose the account. What do you wanna do? And you guys can go ahead right here tonight, make a motion to accept this other company, provided that Village Pools doesn't come down. Just a suggestion to you all.
What other experience does this other company have with commercial pools?
I don't know, I sent it directly to speak with the manager. I didn't get into any negotiation with them.
No, as far as, I mean, do they have, do they do several pools in the area?
I unfortunately have never heard of them, doesn't mean that's good or bad.
Don't we want to look at references, make sure that they're a reputable company?
So why don't we go ahead and redo a motion here, may I
Somebody
suggest?
wanna just make an amendment to the motion and
But we can table it until.
make the.
I say we table it until we bring some additional information on references to the board.
Okay, I accept that amendment to amend the motion that we will consider changing to the pool pending some more research on the company in terms of references. Is there a second on that motion? I second the motion. Second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, passes the amended motion. We will table it until we get additional information on the vendor. Okay, and that we'll try and negotiate this other guy down, whatever it is. Okay?
Okay.
At this point, that concludes the portion that's on the agenda. I would now like to open the floor back to the homeowners for any comments or questions that they may have that they want to bring up now.
There you go.
Yes, sir.
Springs on the mailboxes to keep them closed. A lot of them, the springs are bad.
Yes.
Okay.
Is there, if you'll have a list or the contact information from the people we purchased the mailboxes from, if you need a replacement spring?
Yes, all you gotta do is put in a work order, they put in a work order, they come out and they'll change it.
Perfect.
Okay?
Question.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm trying to find out how you determine who you rent properties to. The properties around here that are rented, homeowners have to leave out of state because of jobs. And I was tortured for a whole year. The renters were young people, young family. They had dogs who constantly roamed. When I'm doing laundry, I leave the garage door out the bed. And I would come in, and the dogs would let me back out of my door. They're inside my garage, and they're barking at me. And then one day, my friend came with her dog, and the dog came across the street. The renters were in the yard. There was a big dirty birds across the street because the two little dogs tried to pull the dog out of her hand. I mean, it was only little chihuahuas, but I mean, so many times they had to be rescued, you know? I mean, unbelievable things. I sent Danielle photos of the garbage, the beer bottles, packages and stuff on the driveway. They leave the garbage out for days. I will put my garbage out, and then tomorrow morning I come to add more garbage. It's full with Pampers and stuff. I mean, unbelievable. How they determine who comes here to rent. This is a young woman, she had 3 kids, 3 different men. She's with the last father with the child. And there's always fights and fuss and drinking and stuff. How do you determine? You just don't rent to anybody.
Ma'am, as far as the dogs, there's a city ordinance that dogs have to be leashed.
I know that, sir.
So you can,
I had dog.
yeah, so you can just call the BSO. Tell them that the dogs are, especially they're going on your private property.
That was
You know the address of the home, ma'am, that has the problem?
Oh, they just moved.
Oh, so they're not there anymore.
And
Did they take the
But the
dogs?
house is up again, huh? What's that?
Did they take the dogs?
So the question she's asking is, what control do we have over
They have to be
screening the
interviewed,
renters?
Screening.
When we screen, ma'am, you may think I'm a nice guy, I may think that that lady there is a nice lady, I may sit with her, she's gonna be on her best behavior, I'm gonna be on my best behavior. As soon as you walk out, it's like teaching kids in the classroom. I can't tell you, nobody here can sit here and tell you that we can screen somebody and know that they're gonna be darn good tenants. It's not gonna happen. What you have to do is exactly what you did do, is report. When we do an interview on folks, we're talking to them, we're looking at their background, their criminal background. That's about it. There's not much more than that we can do. We're not interviewing the dog. You know, I don't mean to be.
I understand that, but this is a horrible thing.
Yeah, anytime you guys see stuff that goes on in your community, you need to send Danielle an email. If you're not getting a response, if you're not getting a response,
Beer bottles, the garbage, it's just unbelievable.
Did she respond?
Who?
Danielle?
Then, yeah,
Well,
she said she passed it to the person who's responsible.
Were there any violations that were assessed against the homeowner?
I wouldn't know that.
what's the
but-
address?
Listen, I have a 2325 bill, but they're just opposite me.
Yeah, sometimes is there anything that could be done if somebody releases their dog on a regular basis?
Oh, absolutely. Number one, we'll call code enforcement ourselves.
Well, I meant as far as a fine of any sort, is that covered in our?
Yeah, there is.
$100 per incident.
So what we can do, what happens is we cannot assess the renter, but we can assess the homeowner. A fine for them releasing the dog, or if there's a problem with, they're violating one of the rules.
Yeah, but the renter will be cited by the police or code enforcement with a fine. It's against the law to have a dog unleashed, and there is a
Not one,
fine.
two.
Well, they'll have to pay fines. Then the owner is assessed by the association, so it's both ways.
I don't know what happened, Danielle knew, I don't know what finally happened, but I know one of the neighbors had the homeowner's phone number and called her, because the house was up for sale, but no one's ever come to look at the house. The house was trashed. They had just fixed the house before they left. The house was trashed, because they smoked, they drank, it was a mess. So I see recently, they have people that trying to fix the house out, to put it back on sale.
Is that on Dover? Is that on
Yeah.
Dover? Was that the house that had there was an ice cream truck
Yeah, ice
in the
cones,
driveway?
Yes, yeah.
Didn't they leave?
They left.
Okay,
But I'm just-
and what, the house is up for sale?
The house was up for sale when they were in it, but I guess the homeowners need to pay mortgage, so it was rented in the process.
The answer to your question is, we do have a screening, but that in and of itself is not necessarily gonna catch everything. We just need to report any violations as we see them.
And that just make for bad neighbors, right?
Well,
Well,
no, because all you have to do is
Oh, no, I
report
tell them,
it.
I don't
And
care,
then-
this is my home, if you renting, trust me. And you
No,
know
I mean,
things
we're
sound
what-
right, you're gonna know.
Well, and it's the only thing we can do as far as enforcing the rules. That's really, other than that, we just let them do whatever they wanna do. That's really not, shouldn't be
It's
an
not
option.
right.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm surprised that ice cream truck was parked so long. I
Exactly.
mean, that alone, the police should have, that's a commercial
Yeah,
vehicle.
He worked it on the weekend, I guess, to go around the place with the ice cones.
Greg, you wouldn't believe the size of this ice cream truck.
Yeah, but
Hung on
we're
the-
not
hung
allowed.
on the road.
I mean, it's in our covenants that you're not allowed to have a commercial vehicle parked in the driveway to
That was
begin with.
out there every weekend.
So that should have been a violation.
Oh, yeah, it was parked there constantly.
Okay. All right. Any others?
Well,
Go ahead. Rose?
Oh, I'd just like to say about the landscaping, that kind of
Yes.
business that's going to be happening. I'm begging the board to allow the landscape committee to be really very actively involved in the decision-making of what trees are going to be put in and what bushes are going to be put in. I think, last year or the year before, when we had a landscape committee, we were not advised at all, really, after we put in a lot of work, on what
answer your question. When I met with Sherry, okay, I met with Sherry, and I asked the committee to come up with a prioritized list of what they wanted to do. And the landscape committee is charged with the replacement of landscaping, okay? He's charged with taking all the stuff down. The landscape committee is charged with getting it back. So I am depending on them to tell us.
Okay, so how come I wasn't invited to this meeting, since I'm on the committee?
That I don't know, I'm not on the committee. I know she sent out an email announcing it.
I did get an email of this encouragement to come to this meeting, and I didn't get
This
an
meeting?
email, right, and I didn't get an email encouraging me to come to a landscape committee.
Did you get the agenda for tonight's meeting?
You got a personal invitation like everyone does in this community for the annual meeting by U.S. mail.
Well then, Rose, let me just make sure that,
I'm serious.
that I have your correct email, and I'll make sure he gets it, and she invites you, okay? I mean, it's not like she's deliberately excluding people.
Well, I have, what I can tell you is that I spoke to Sharon once because she talked about a meeting that she
Right.
had, but I wasn't invited to the meeting, and neither was,
But I saw the
Mark
emails that
invited.
went back and forth between you after that.
Well, I spoke to her and I said, hello, you're supposed to invite me and Mark to the meeting.
So have you guys had another meeting?
Nope.
So the next,
Just the pool with you 2 weeks ago.
okay. Well, okay. I'll send her an email and make sure she invites everybody to her next
And
meeting.
I don't understand why I'm not, I get a notice about, coming here. Because of the vote that was
You had, Rose, you got a letter in the mail. Everyone in this room got a letter in the mail.
I didn't get any letter in the mail.
Yeah, we were all, everyone got it.
You would be the only one.
You got with the proxy and the budget,
Okay,
I have not got
let's just check the
any
email, just
from-
to make sure.
This is what I got. This is the only thing I got. I received.
I think that's it, though.
That's fine.
That's the proxy and the budget, I believe.
There's also signs at the entrance.
Can I, would you do me a favor?
Not for an annual meeting.
When you go home
Could you send it
tonight,
by mail?
just check your email, see if you got the agenda for tonight. If you did not, or either way, email me, you have my email. Let me know if you got it or not.
Thank you.
And I will make sure that the correct email gets to UCN, okay? All right. Any others? Yes, sir.
Well, not to redundant in the thing that this lady was talking about, we recently moved into our house, we were recently homeowners, and there are a couple dogs that came into our property for a couple of times. The same dogs. I mean, we love dogs, we have a dog around, but I don't think we need to take radical decisions in terms of calling the police or, the city in order to do it. But I do think that if we can warn, if the association can warn these people to, just control their pets, it would be better for us as a community,
That's a good point, and it's been done before. If you see that activity, there will be a note that goes from the community, the property manager, to that homeowner, not only, to the owner of the home, to correct the deficiency. So that is a good recommendation.
Who knows the raccoons that are coming around?
What's that? Call vermin control.
And another question, do you guys have some, because we kind of have rats in the roof?
Yeah.
Do you guys have some company that you prefer us to call in terms of when that happens or something?
We just, for legal reasons,
I don't want to mess with my neighbors.
no, we don't.
No, I know how to get them, I just don't want it to go to the other house, so I just, yeah, I know.
I know I have Orkin, and that's part of my contract to control in my house. I mean, I
No,
kill
no,
them.
from my experience in the behavior of rats and everything, when you scare them away, they go to
Yeah.
the neighbors. I don't want that to happen, so I just want to know if you got some company that you work in the past, as a community,
No.
Okay. So-
Anything else? Anybody else?
Greg?
Yes, sir.
Before you adjourn the meeting, I'd
Yes,
like
sir.
to say something if I may. Because of personal commitments,
Yes, sir.
I must resign from the board effective immediately. I just wanted to make sure I got that in.
Okay. You don't want to wait for a replacement?
I can't, I'm under stress, I've got time constraints, personal commitments, I have to resign.
Okay.
And I want to thank the community, I served it for 30 years.
I do want to say, Michael, we butted heads a couple times.
All the time.
But but in the end, I know that we all have the same objective and the same goal. We just may have different ways of getting there. I want to thank you for what you've done in the past, where you've gotten us to. I just want to make sure that I know you will continue to press for the goodwill of the community, okay? So I hope things go well for you, and I want to thank you. For me personally, I want to thank you. I may disagree with your politics or the way you go around doing something, but I know we have the same goal at the end of the day. And I do consider you a friend. So
And if you
thanks
ever
very
want to
much.
bump something off of me.
I'm going to Harriet's to get lunch and a cup of coffee. All right,
The board would have to go ahead and make a motion to accept that, please.
okay. There's a motion on the table to accept the resignation of Mike Leon as a member of the board of directors. Is there a second? I second. Okay. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Okay. All opposed? All right, passes. Okay. Okay, what I want to do is, I just want, before we do adjourn, I want to talk about the next meeting. We have a meeting in December. If you want to make a motion.
Make a motion that our next meeting will be in January.
Okay, the second week. of January. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
January 8th.
That's first day of school too, okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those against, any? All right, next meeting. Okay. Is there a motion?
No, hang on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Suggestion to the board that you have an opening on a board is that we email that there,
I don't want to do that right yet.
Okay.
I want to go a couple months with what we've got and see how it goes. Because I think this board works pretty good. We haven't had a vote yet where we've had trouble.
right.
So unless anybody is like adamant that we want to add somebody right away, right now, I would just think we've got a good group here. I think we go with what we got for a little bit. We can put that in January. Yeah, if we need to, then we start. But I do need to say that if it is, it's got to be somebody from section 1. Because right now, we have nobody from section 1.
Makes sense.
Yep, makes sense. Yep. So if you know anybody, so we'll talk about that in January.
Sir.
Okay? And if you have any recommendations,
I may.
anybody that might be interested from section 1, let us know.
How about some of the things just like that?
What?
I'm just joking, just joking.
All right. Anything else, Chris?
No, sir.
I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn. Is there a second?
Yes.
There's a second from Raul. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting is, all opposed? Meeting is adjourned at 8:02.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Chris,
sir.
What can we do to get this process?
I'm already working on it.
Okay. We have to pay, we have to be in good standing, though.
Well, I'll be
Right or
good
wrong?
stuff by then.
Okay. All right.
I'm hoping.
Okay.
I mean, I'm up to date with everything.
It's just a record.